Hello and welcome to another session for My Eicher. So in this video, we're going to cover how to get started with My Eicher. In this module, we'll cover the initial know-how as well as the prerequisites of how customers can create their own account on the My Eicher app and portal. Firstly, there are three types of logins available on the My Eicher app and portal. You can access the portal by simply searching for www.myeicher.in on any web browser, while you can download the app from the App Store or the Play Store. You can also access this QR code to download the app directly. There are three types of user personas available on the MyAshare app and portal, namely customer, dealer, and a VCV user login. Customers can access MyAshare by using their registered mobile number along with the password that they've created, while dealer users can use their Udan user ID and the system password. VCV users have to use their username on the company directory along with their system password. Onboarding on the MyAshare app. So when a customer signs up on MyAshare or creates his own account, it is known as the customer getting onboarded. An important phrase to keep in mind is that proper tagging of vehicle's chassis number to appear in customer ID along with a primary mobile number is required for a smooth onboarding process. So in this slide we'll cover what are the prerequisites required for a customer to get onboarded on the app. Like covered in the previous slide, the vehicles list, along with a parent customer ID and a mobile number, is required for a smooth onboarding process. The vehicle list. The vehicle assignment for onboarding on MyShare is very important to be captured. The vehicle assignment includes the chassis numbers of all the vehicles in the fleet. Each retail vehicle has a unique vehicle identification number that is also known as its chassis number. It's a 13-digit alphanumeric entity that differentiates every vehicle. The customer ID. The customer ID is an 8-digit ID that is assigned to every unique customer. It gets assigned at the time of inquiry after data capturing. There are two types of customer IDs, sold to party ID and bill to party ID. Sold to party IDs are assigned to individual customers or organizations, while bill to party IDs are generally used when people or organizations buy in a group. Sold to party IDs start from 1, while bill to party IDs tend to start from 4. For my Eicher, only sold to party IDs are valid. The mobile number. A customer ID is created after a unique mobile number is input at inquiry. Every customer ID is linked to a mobile number in the backend. Customers can only log in on My Eicher using their mobile number. This slide covers how a customer ID gets assigned and how it is mapped to a customer. The customer ID gets assigned to a customer during inquiry via the Sales One app. The inquiry stage is a part of the sales process where the field team or the DSCs capture customer data such as name, date of birth, contact number, email ID, etc. The first step in this process is to check if a customer ID already exists for that particular customer. So during a customer visit, you can search for that customer using their first and last name or their mobile number. The SalesOne app will look for the number in the backend to check if a customer ID already exists on that number. If only the number provided is unique, a new customer ID can be generated. Otherwise, for the same customer ID which is highlighted on the app, the inquiry has to be done. So, a new customer ID can only be created if the entered mobile number is unique. Then, when you move on to the next step, you go to the Create Customer tab. You can input some mandatory details and capture customer data. This data is fetched into Eicher, Udan, CRM, and DBM database. For any future retails, the same customer ID is to be used. Next, I'm going to cover how a customer ID is mapped to a customer and how a relationship can be formed in the backend. In this example, a customer, Mr. Manish, owned 10 Eicher vehicles in 2017, registered under his own name. As his logistics business grew, he decided to invest in more trucks in 2019 and purchased 7 new LMT vehicles in his mother's name. In 2021, Manish's brother and business partner Harish, pleased with the fleet's performance, decides to buy 8 more vehicles under his name. So, to address the fleet's aftermarket needs, real time parameters, performance analysis, fuel management, etc., Manish created his account on the My Eicher app. Manish is able to see only the 10 vehicles that were retailed using his mobile number, and he wishes to view his entire fleet under one umbrella. What is to be done? So, obviously, when a customer wants to access the My Eicher app and portal, he would like to see his entire fleet under one bucket. So, in this example, there are three unique customers in our backend database, which are Manish, Manish's mother, and Manish's brother Harish. Since different numbers were provided during inquiry, different customer IDs have been allocated to these personnel. So Manish has customer ID 1, Manish's mother has customer ID 2, Manish's brother Harish has customer ID 3. And these are the mobile numbers tagged with those customer IDs. And these are the number of vehicles assigned to each customer ID. To access the host of aftermarket, fleet management, and value added services on the MyAshare app and portal, Harish decides to create his own account. So within the app, he would like to see all of those 25 vehicles together. The 10 assigned to his name, the 7 assigned in his mother's name, as well as the 8 assigned to his brother Harish. So in this case, where multiple customer IDs are available for a single customer or organization, a relationship between the IDs is to be created. The customer ID tagged with the preferred mobile number is to be made the parent ID. If a customer prompts that this is the mobile number that he would like to access my Azure, the subsequent corresponding customer ID can be turned into a parent ID. All the other customer IDs are to be made child IDs and mapped under the parent ID. So in this example, Harish's mother's customer ID as well as his brother's customer ID would be allocated as child IDs assigned under the parent ID. So this relationship between the existing customer IDs is made in DBM. When this mapping is done, all associated vehicles in all the IDs will be available on MyAshare. So when Harish logins using the number allocated with the parent customer ID, he would be able to access all the 25 vehicles. So after the relationship has been formed in DBM, these child numbers cannot access MyAshare any further. MyAshare would be only accessible through the number assigned to the parent customer ID. To access My Eicher on multiple accounts, My Eicher app and portal does have a functionality to create managers, mechanics, and drivers. So a parent ID can have multiple child IDs, but a child ID only has one parent. So now you've understood how a customer ID gets assigned and how it is mapped into such a relationship so as for the customer to see all of his vehicles together. This mapping is to be done for adding or removing any vehicles or merging multiple accounts on My Eicher. Signing up on My Eicher. There are three distinct ways how a user can create their own account on the My Eicher app and portal. The first one is the mobile number. Users can enter their registered mobile number to get a prompt as to how many vehicles are tagged with that particular number. So, in an ideal scenario, if a customer inputs their mobile number, if it's registered as the number tagged to a parent customer ID, the number of vehicles belonging to that number would be highlighted, and the customer would be able to agree to the terms and conditions, validate through an OTP, and generate their own password. And in the future, he'll be able to sign into MyShare using the mobile number and the password that he has created. The second way of signing up is the iShare ID. For existing iShareLive.com and iShareLive.in users, they can use the provision to migrate all their data using their iShareLive ID. They can simply enter the iShareLive ID in this input bar and generate their own password after validating if the mobile number, the email ID, and the vehicle list is correct. The third way to sign up on MyAnswer is by using your vehicle number. Customers can enter a valid chassis number or registration number of their vehicles to get an idea of the mobile number which is mapped with the vehicles list. Mobile number mapped with the parent customer ID linked with the vehicles can be used to sign up on My Eicher. So after the user enters the registration number, he'll get a prompt showing that our records show that your number is this and the email ID that is tagged in the backend is this. Would you like to validate through OTP? In an ideal scenario, he'll say yes and he'll be able to submit a request, receive an OTP, and generate his own password. This number and password would be used for all future sign ins. Therefore, sign up using the mobile number will be OTP based. Using the iShield ID or registration number or chassis number will populate the corresponding registered phone and email ID. User further needs to validate the phone number and follow the sign up process by creating his own password. And the mapping needs to be corrected from the backend in case these errors are found. In case there's the no vehicle found error, multiple records found error, or an incorrect mobile number is linked with the vehicles. If in the fleet list an incorrect vehicle assignment is present, if there's a need to merge multiple accounts on My Eicher. After signing up on My Eicher, if customers are not able to view certain vehicles, what to do? There can be two distinct problems in this. The first one can be if the vehicles are not visible in the fleet list. So when the users go to the My Organization section and enter the My Fleet module, they aren't able to see certain vehicles. Then the customer ID and chassis number linkage is to be corrected. A parent-child relationship between the IDs to be formed in DBM. After the mapping has been corrected, the vehicles would be visible within 24 hours. The second aspect of this could be if the vehicles are visible in the My Fleet section but not visible in the connected features. There are a host of connected features on the MyShare app and portal like insights, track and trace, hotspot zone, reports, etc. If vehicles are not visible as connected on MyShare, the iShare Life Plus contract for that vehicle has to be activated. The customer KYC has to be valid and approved, and the customer has to have provided the iShare Life consent from the app or portal. The iShare Life Plus telematics subscription. Vehicles to have an active iShare Life Plus contract to use telematics related features on MyShare, such as track, trace, location sharing, fuel management, vehicle insights, performance reports, and hotspot zones. So, the requirement for connected vehicles on MyShare is the mapping of the vehicle and the mobile number should be correct. The Know Your Customer, which is the KYC documents, should be cleared and status approved. The iShare Life contract for the vehicle to be created and iShare Life consent should be given from the alert section. Vehicles with an active telematics subscription are known as connected vehicles. Steps to upload KYC. Step 1. In the Salesone app, enter valid mobile number and email ID. Step 2. Mandatory KYC update at finance clearance. Step 3. Upload valid ID and address proof. Step 4. Select document type. Step 5. Press update to complete the KYC process. The KYC process differs for individual customers and for organizations. For an individual customer, a proof of identity and proof of address is required. For this, both sides of any one of the documents listed below can be used: an Aadhaar card, a voter ID card, driving license, or passport. In case of organizations, a company letterhead with seal and signature authorizing person is to be uploaded. Along with this, for the authorized person, any one of the below documents is to be submitted. Both sides of an Aadhaar card, voter ID, driving license, or a passport would validate the KYC process. My Eicher Care. So, My Eicher Care is a unified command center to resolve all customer issues related to My Eicher. Customers can call the toll free number or mail their concerns and suggestions to My Eicher Care. It's a linked ticketing tool to assign specific resolver for particular issues so that the SLA of the resolution of particular issues is met. Users can also request for a demo of the app and portal. Customers can also request for API and partner services through the help desk. Requests for customer data change to be also sent to MyShare Care. So you can mail your concerns to myassurecare@vcv.in or call the toll-free number 1-800-102-3531.